Okay, welcome back to the shop. It's time for an update on our early 70s Ford Courier. I'm actually not sure what year it is. I know what year it is now, but I don't know what year this truck was produced. So it has dual wheel cylinders, front and rear. I was not able to save or repair the ones that were all boogered up. The customer ordered some new ones. I guess they're really hard to find. But on the rears, this truck kind of came in with a basket case brake job. The customer did his own brakes and he put the crossbar, this equalization bar, in backwards, which is this bar right here. And every time you'd rotate the axle, the backs of these wheel studs would hit that and go brrr, and it would lock the brakes up. So I had to redo all the rear brakes. The e-brake was wrong. We do have some new parts on here. New wheel cylinders, upper and lower. They're blind hole. In other words, they only go one way. But this is not self-adjusting and it's not duo servo. It's just old-fashioned brakes. Brake shoes are pretty thin, maybe 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches wide. We got brand new drums. So now I'm putting it all back together, adjusting each one of the wheel adjusters, which you can adjust from the back side, but it's so much faster to do it from the front. A couple other things. We have the original spare tire, the 6.0 by 14 LT light truck. That's pretty cool, and it is completely packed full of, looks like squirrel nests. It's a little rusty under here. And the lug nuts on this side of the truck are right-hand thread, not left-hand thread. Am I saying that right? No, opposite. Left-hand thread, not right-hand thread. The opposite. They loosen when you go to the right. Pretty cool truck. I did find one spot of rust right up here in the footwell area. Oop, over there as well. Original exhaust, original everything. Muffler may have been replaced, but oh my goodness, this thing is in really good shape. A little bit of rust up in the bed there. So we're going to keep working on this thing. Got to make something of nothing. That's what we do. It has the old service sticker. Let's see if we can figure out where this was. I don't know if you can read that or not. Oh, blurry. Well, let's keep working. Maybe we'll drive this thing someday. Okay, so it's the next day. We're working on our little green avocado colored Ford Courier from the 70s. And yes, I got all the pieces I needed to put the brakes back together. If you recall, the customer brought a box of parts in, basically a basket of brake parts, and I was able to reassemble them. They're fairly simple. Just I didn't know what I was missing. I had to source a couple of new wheel cylinders and make sure all the brake hardware is the same, especially in the front of a drum vehicle. You don't want mismatched wheel cylinders to avoid pulling or unequal braking. It's really important on the front to have everything the same. So some of the wheel cylinders had different springs inside. I had to match and mix them to hopefully stop in a straight line. And I can't remember if I told you, but I got the rear brakes done. The equalizer bars were on backwards, upside down. So now the e-brake is working. And I'm going to start bleeding these things here soon. It's crazy. But I got to get this truck off the rack to get the next car in. It's always some pressure to get things done. So a little update for you. This little truck's going to be on the road soon. I don't know. Sometime soon. There's always more. Okay, so I got the wheels back on. Again, there's 2 wheel cylinders per wheel, front and rear. A lot of brake lines, a lot of hoses. I am making sure that all the connections are tight, and I'm bleeding the front here. You can see my tube. Tube always has to go up, fellas. Always goes up. See that there? I've also marked my, since this has so many wheel adjusters, see there's a wheel adjuster there, and with an arrow, so I know which way to tighten it. And it looks like I've got a leak. Something's dripping. I gotta figure that out. So I'll check up, see if the master cylinder's leaking. Oh, I overflowed the master cylinder. That's all that is. So this is a non-power brake truck. Original master cylinder, it appears. And again, 2 wheel cylinders per wheel. You can usually get away with bleeding the last wheel cylinder in a line to get all the air out. Kind of a cheat thing, not always. And I've got the wheels all adjusted. This takes so much time compared to disc brakes, but it's well worth it. Okay, so we just gave the brakes a good old bleed out. The pedal's not as firm as I'd like. I call this yard brakes. In other words, I've got probably half a pedal, but I've got to go through and drive it around the yard a little bit. Let's see, I got full brake right about there. So it needs to be higher than that. But I want to drive it around and make sure the shoes expand, knock off all the fuzzies so I can readjust them and then rebleed. There's so many wheel cylinders. Like I said, I just did the ones at the end of the line, and we'll get this thing going. I've got to do a ball joint, the rear end flush, radiator hoses, points, cap, rotor, a lot more stuff to come on this little Ford Courier. So somebody was asking me where this truck was found, and my customer lives in Southwest Portland, and he found it in a backyard somewhere in Hillsdale, which is Southwest Portland. So somebody was asking where it came from. So it was just under a tree, I guess, for years and years and years. He did rhino line the bed, looks really good. And everything was hand polished with some special wax to bring the paint back, which looks fantastic. All the blemishes are still there, so it's considered a survivor. There's a dent. I mean, I can go around and pick out all kinds of dents, but what a really cool little truck. And it looks like you got special interest plates on it, so there's no annual registration fees. That's really cool. So I got to push this thing out, get the next job in, and then we'll come back to this little Ford Courier and we'll tune it up. I think we've got to do an exhaust gasket as well and see what we can do. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for supporting my channel. And we'll see you on the next video. Take care.